Hey guys, welcome back to Pixel Street Videos. I am John Hansen, joined by Joel Campos, and this is our first impression video for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We're both pretty early in the game right now. Joel, right before we started recording this, just defeated his first gym leader, and I am not far after him, actually, even though I've put tons of hours into the game. I've
Yeah,
been
that was
writing
gonna
a
be,
lot.
like something I was gonna say is, like, I think I've put, like, close to 3 hours into the game already, and I'm
Oh,
just gotten to, like, the first objective.
because of my job and how many guides I've been writing, if I were to look up my time played on the game right now, it's probably closer to like 12 hours. But a lot of that is me looking at the map and finding where everything is and exploring. So I haven't really gone down the mainline quest at all, besides the first gym leader. And I also took out my first Team Star camp area. So my Pokemon right now are like getting into like the level 20 area, but besides that, all I've really done is explore. But we definitely have enough on our plate right now where we could definitely make some first impressions. This won't be like our final review thoughts or anything. I'm sure we're going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as we get into weeks down the line on our podcast, Pixel Street Podcast. Go ahead and check that out if you're interested. So, yeah, let's get into how we're feeling about the game. First, we're going to start off with the more positive stuff. We'll get into the negatives, which I'm sure if you've been on Twitter at all since the game released, you've seen some of the negatives. But let's start off with the positives. Joel, what do you like so far about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Actually,
It
first, which one do you have? Do you have Violet?
I got Violet because I texted you the day I was
Yes.
buying it
Okay.
to see which one you got because I actually wanted Scarlet, and then you
Yeah, I
said,
got
"I bought
Scarlet.
Scarlet," and I just replied, "Fuck," and then I told the
Yeah.
guy at GameStop I wanted Violet.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Fun fact, like, so about the buying aspect of it, I, like, went to 3 different places that were sold out
I
of
just got
both
a digital.
copies.
Yeah.
See, I like collecting physical stuff, especially for the Switch, because like I don't game share or anything like that. So, and
Yeah.
Pokemon games hold their value over time, especially physical
Yeah.
ones. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I went to 2 different places, and then I was like, all right, let's check Target. I looked on Target's website, sold out everywhere. So I was like, fine, I guess I'll drive to GameStop, which it sucks because like in the city, if the store's not close to you, it's a pain in the ass to get to. But yeah, I
Mm,
went to GameStop and the dude opened the drawer and they just had like dozens of copies.
yeah.
So which makes
Uh,
sense. It's
when I
GameStop.
worked at GameStop, that was the case. Is you're just overstocked on them because that's one of the most popular games, of course. But yeah, let's get into the game here. What do you like about Pokemon Violet?
I like how big it is, right? Like it's like a big open world, more or less. Like I mean, granted, like you go into certain towns and areas, it loads. Go into buildings, like there's a little load screen and everything. But I don't know. It just feels really huge. Granted, I haven't like explored the whole map or anything. I've kind of just went to like the heart of the map, which is the school that is like you pretty much your first objective in the game is to go to
Mhm.
school. And that's fucking huge. Like that school is massive, and like I like how I think it's kind of funny how everybody's like, "Oh, you chose to enroll here." It's like, motherfucker, this is the only this school takes up like an eighth of the map and is the center of the whole island. Where
I
else
think
am I
what they
gonna go?
mean is you came from a different region to come to that school. That's what I think is
Oh,
happening.
okay. It just like it sounded weird. But yeah, I like how big it is. That's both a good thing and a bad thing, which I think we'll talk about in a little bit. But
Hmm.
yeah, it seems really big, and there's more than just collecting all the Pokemon and getting gym badges.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Talking about like the largeness of the map, that is great. Really, what I want to get into here is that your freedom in this game, because well, they're not really linear experiences in the past. Pokemon games are pretty much just straightforward. You are given a path to get through all the gyms, and then you'll like fight the Team Rocket equivalent of that game at some point. You might do a little bit of jumping around every now and then, but for the most part, you're following a path until you get all 8 gym badges, and then you go to the Pokemon League. Here, it's literally, okay, I'm at the school, you're on a treasure hunt, go make your own adventure. I love that. That is great. That is that kind of Breath of the Wild thing that we've been wanting in a Pokemon game for a very long time. They literally tell you, like, right when you're about to start your treasure hunt, they give you your 3 main quests that's how you're gonna get to the credits. You have to get all the gym badges, you have to take out the Team Star people, and then you also have to help, Arvin, I think his name is, with all the, Titan Pokemon. And they're like, "Hey, help me if you want. This is totally your choice. You can start out going east, you can start out going west." Like, that stuff is awesome. Uh, Actually, like, in the beginning part, after you defeat the first gym and you, like, go up the pathway and you, find your first, like, Team Star base, I think you're supposed to, like, be cut off from accessing the, like, upper half of the map. Um, I found a way to get around it. I just, like, I went through the desert and there was, like, a little edge where I could, like, jump over and get past the barrier. So I was, like, into an area that I wasn't supposed to be yet, but, like, everything was, like, still loading in and everything. So I made my way up to, I think it's called Casaroya Lake, with, like, level 13 Pokemon,
You
and
get destroyed.
I avoided the Pokemon, which is nice. There's no random encounters in this game, but one did sneak up on me and start a battle, and it was, like, level 45, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run now. Don't mind me."
That's th sorry, not to cut you off, but that's, like, one thing that I kinda don't like is how like, I like that the Pokemon roam free, right? You can avoid them if you want to, that's kinda nice. Especially it being open world, it would be super annoying if you're getting into battles every 5 minutes, if you're trying to get from point A to point B. But the fact that some Pokemon are so tiny and, like,
That is
you
one thing I
can't
wanted to bring up as well.
you
Yeah.
like you could barely see them. So like I like for instance, I just caught a Pokemon, fought it, caught it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go this way. I took 2 steps, and there was just like this. I don't even know what kind of Pokemon it was. There's some little bug Pokemon on the ground.
It was probably nimble.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
what is going on? But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
So yeah, I love that kind of aspect of it. I wish there was, like, a level scaling thing in there so that I could truly go wherever I wanted, because it is kind of a cutoff. Like, if I have, like, a level 15 team, obviously I can't contend with those Pokemon that I encountered when I was exploring. So that kind of sucks. But the cool fact is that if I want to, I can essentially go anywhere. I love that part of it. I think Paldea overall, like, just looking at the general map, looks really cool. It's just pretty much a big circle with, like, different biomes around it. I like that. I really like the whole the Pokemon roster here. The Pokedex is really good, very diverse. I think there's a lot of cool Pokemon. I'm not that big on the starters, but I think
What starter did you
overall,
choose?
Fuecoco.
Same. That's why I changed
I
my lights to red.
I always go with the fire starter.
I
Um,
typically do too, but in this case, I looked up the evolution of all three, and I was like, all right, this is clearly the coolest one in its
yeah,
final form, in my opinion.
Skeledirge is pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I like the Pokemon overall. The returning ones are good, and the new ones are good. So yeah, overall, I think
I, the thing I hate about new Pokemon games, and like I get why they do it, is when they just like cut out Pokemon from regions. Like it makes sense in terms of like wildlife, like obviously animals that we have here may not be the same that you'll find in like South America or something. But like I don't know. Something rubs me the wrong way about them removing them, and I get it like
I
each new game is a lot of work to get each Pokemon balanced and everything.
we'll get into that aspect too. But yeah, I do want to mention though that the Pokemon the entire Pokemon series now has over 1,000 Pokemon. Do you want to catch over 1,000
Yes, I
Pokemon?
do. I
Okay.
do.
I think I the way that Pokemon is right now, this will never happen. It would be cool if someday we get to a point where you can travel between regions so that you can have both aspects of that. Like think of like a giant Pokemon MMO that you could
Like Temtem, that game you were telling me about, Temtem.
yeah, essentially that where I could start out in Paldea and I could go to Kanto, Johto, and all these other places. Like that would be amazing, but who knows if that will ever happen. Are there any other positives you want to get into, or do you want to start talking negatively about this game?
I mean, like,
Because I want
for
to.
me for me personally, I feel like the negatives outweigh the positives in terms of, like, thoughts I have. Just because, like, it's Pokemon, right? Like, you knew what you were getting into, like, the
Mhm.
positives are all the same positives you've had about Pokemon over the years.
Yeah,
So,
but
I don't
before
know.
we get into the negatives here, let's say this is a fun game. It's a Pokemon game, so it is fun. It is fun to go out and capture Pokemon and battle them. But Joel, let's get started on
There's
these negatives.
there's a lot of buts. So I when I first started playing, I started playing it on my TV, right? Docked. I don't know, is that how you've been playing, or have you been
Yeah,
playing
that
handheld?
is pretty much the only way I've been playing so far.
So I played docked when I was playing for a few hours yesterday, and then I played handheld this morning. And I think handheld, the issues that we're seeing are not as noticeable, right? Because
Mhm.
like the issues it's the same issues. Don't get me wrong. If you look closely, you'll find them. But like seeing it on this size of a screen versus like a 65-inch TV in my case is like drastically different. But yeah, like the open world is awesome that it's an open world. It's awesome how big it is, but it hurts this game tremendously because it is the main reason I feel like that you were noticing all these things. Like you can tell, like if you're watching the review on YouTube right now, there's literally a he's riding his bicycle Pokemon thing. I forget what the fuck they're called, but he's riding it up a road, and there's nobody on the road. And then as he's riding, like there's things popping up like 20 feet in front of him, 30 feet in front of him, out of nowhere. It's just I don't know. I feel like this is a good argument case of why we need a Switch Pro because if this was running on better hardware and it was able to support all this, I think it would be great.
Uh, Before I get into my first negatives, I'm gonna stop you right there because I don't think this is a Switch problem. I think this is a Pokemon Company problem. I think this is only a Pokemon problem because we have games like Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, uh, and mention any other big Nintendo made franchise. The games run and look brilliantly. This game is not graphically superior to any of those that I just mentioned. This game runs horribly because Game Freak slash the Pokemon Company did not put enough time into optimizing it. This game is terribly managed. It
Yeah.
is it is awful. And when you have the biggest franchise in history with Pokemon, this is unacceptable. That's just
Dude, this game is getting memed to hell on like TikTok and Twitter.
there's so many bugs. There's the bugs of like jumping on your rideable Pokemon and you get all stretched out and
Yeah.
everything. I've fallen through the map. I would go and get off my rideable Pokemon and my guy would just stutter in the air until it reset me. I put up a clip of me on my Twitter last night of I was just going to go pick up an item that was in the corner of like this mountainy area, and when I went to walk up to it, the like mountain textures were like all warping and everything, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" No, for the we've always known that Pokemon games never look particularly great. We played Pokemon Legends Arceus, and hey, that game does not look good either. But it was you're like, okay, this is rough, but I can play through this and enjoy it. This game, Scarlet and Violet, it's distractingly bad. And
Yeah.
it is absolutely unacceptable the way that the Pokemon company has handled their games lately. This is it's disgusting to me. I do not like the way they've handled this at all. It's
How do
just
you how do
bad
you
all
feel
around.
about the crystal Pokemon? I fucking hate it. I think it's such a lame way of like evolving further from what
It's
you're at.
it's just another form of Mega Evolution
Yeah.
slash Dynamaxing, but it's Crystal, so it's new. Woo.
Yeah, I'm
I
not a fan of it. I think it's pretty lame.
yeah. I I think battles in general are really slow too, and I think that has a part of it. It's just like the animations are slow, and I feel like I'm waiting for the game to just get through things, but it just chugs along so slowly. We didn't even get into the frame rate, like just seeing all,
Yeah.
just like walking around and seeing like NPCs just walking or Pokemon existing in the world, which is great. It's great to see this finally, but they're like moving at like it their frames just aren't
It, it's
connected whatsoever.
it's almost like you can have like 4 to 5 people or Pokemon on the screen at one time max before it's like stuttering really bad.
Mhm. And it's one thing to like see Pokemon or people in the distance doing that. These people are like at most 15 feet away from you and they're doing it. It is
Yeah.
bad. I put
Because
up
because
another,
because because you get 30 feet away and you don't see them anymore because they
yeah.
vanish.
The first time you get into your home classroom, it is so bad. How bad all of the classmates, which are in this close room to you, they're all just stuttering. They all have the same animations and they're all just going like this, but they're so disjointed and everything. It's not good. It looks terrible. I also put up an image. I got into a random battle and I was in a grass field. And first of all, the ground textures are just bad in general. They're just like blurry colored areas. Whatever.
Guys, I
It's
just
fine, it's a
arrived
ground.
at my.
But then they like put it for the taller grass areas. We've got like these blades that look like they could fit on the Nintendo 64, which this is 2022. That's unacceptable. Yeah, I there are so many areas of this game's performance and looks and everything that I think is just absolutely awful. This game needed to be delayed. Of course, Pokemon
Yeah.
Company saw money and they're gonna just put it out. No, I have lost a lot of respect for the Pokemon Company recently. This one is a big blow for me because like I just really don't like the way it was handled.
Now, I'm interested to see if they update the game to fix a lot of these issues or if they're just like, "Oh, it's Pokemon. We got most of our sales that we needed to hit the first weekend. We're good."
See, I was expecting something like that with Legends Arceus, and I don't think they ever made anything
I
that
don't
like
think so.
drastically improved it. So I don't think they will. They're like most of the
It's
problems we're talking
it's
about.
Pokemon, right? Like they're going to make
Yeah,
their money regardless.
we don't expect them to do it. We hope they will, and we're like, okay, yeah, this is Pokemon. It's the biggest franchise of all time. They have all this money, all these assets. Uh, this can be made better, but it never is. And it's I just can't believe we're saying that. We're like people dog on Call of Duty, they dog on Battlefield, all these like big time franchises. It
Doggone.
while you are hearing some of that discourse now for Pokemon, because let's just face it, Scarlet and Violet, this is unacceptable the way it launched. Uh, those maybe those crowds are just a little more toxic than the Pokemon crowd, but it's just ridiculous how Pokemon has gotten a pass in the past couple years.
Yeah, man. It's sorry, I'm trying to look up if the uh Bears
All
won
right,
because I
cool.
was that's what I was watching before.
You know what? I'm
But
having a great conversation
I
with you
think
two.
no, I was listening to everything, but I like heard something, but then I looked, I was like, that's not the Bears game anymore. That's ETV. What the fuck? Um but yeah, I don't know. The game runs poorly. It definitely needed a delay. I
Mhm.
mean that goes without saying based on what Twitter and TikTok and everybody is posting about, but I I don't know, man. I hope that they learn from it in some way. Like I at least if not them, I hope that Nintendo hits them up and is like, "Yo, this isn't okay." Like
Yeah,
we're actually fearful that the next game might not sell as well because of how this game ran.
absolutely.
And then maybe they do some shit like what Microsoft does with, getting help from other studios to, you know, I don't know, help the game
I
out.
don't know. At this point, how would you feel about it? Like, what if there was a different company that came in and tried to make a Pokemon game, not Game Freak at this point?
I wouldn't care either way.
Yeah.
I'd be
At
fine
this
with it.
point, I'd I'd be like, okay, yeah, it can't be any worse than what we got now. It could, it definitely could, but
It
but
could be
still,
worse.
like that. These games have just left such a bad taste in my mouth over the last few days. I don't know. All right, I think that is
John,
where
I
we're
have
gonna.
I've one last question for you.
Okay.
Did you notice, you know how every Pokemon game you spawn in the like your character's bedroom, and there's
Hmm.
always like an SNES, N64 or whatever. In
Hmm.
this one there was a switch. Did you go up to it?
No, I didn't.
It said when you go up to it and hit A, it's like, oh, this is the Nintendo 64 console. It said that this is the new, what did it say? New Nintendo Switch with the larger screen.
OLED.
Does the OLED have a larger screen? That's what I was going to ask
Yeah,
you.
yeah, it
Oh,
has a
I didn't
larger
know
screen.
that.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, that
it's
was just me.
it can't be significant though, right?
No, no, that
Okay,
was just them referencing the OLED. That's it.
okay.
Okay.
Weird that they wouldn't just say the Nintendo Switch OLED, but
Yeah, whatever. All right, that will do it for our first impressions in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. If you like this discussion, please leave a like and subscribe to see any of our future videos. Let us know in the comments how you are feeling about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Go ahead, air all your grievances out in the comments. We'll look over them. Uh, I'm John Hansen. That's Joel Campos. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you on the next one. Bye.